טסים לעולם. שלום רב, הישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. טסים לעולם, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדום, לכו השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדום, לכו השלום. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. בטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. טסים לעולם, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדום, לכו השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדום, לכו השלום. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. בטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל.
On page 5 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeichem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll turn in our prayer book to the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat, the Chuna Ranina, on page 11. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, nikan bafana vetoda. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, bizmiro naria lo. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai. Ki el melekado amadonai melekado Elohim anishav levanav oseinu. Ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu merito v'atzon v'ado. 40 shana ku bedor v'omar am to'e levavhem v'hem lo yadu derachai. Asher nishpati v'yapi im yavon el menuchati. Page 13. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Sabru b'gim kavodo b'chol hamidlotav v'yoranu. Havu l'Adonai mishpechot amim. Seu mikhanesotav. On page 14 at the red triangle, Yismehu Hashamayim. Yismehu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismehu Hashamayim. Yismehu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismehu Hashamayim. Yismehu Hashamayim. Yismehu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam me'umelo. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam me'umelo. Yismehu Hashamayim. Yismehu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismehu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Livnei kiva, livnei rana kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz. Yishpot tevel b'tzedek, amim b'emunato. And on page 16 at the end of Psalm 97, light is sown for the righteous and the joy for the upright in heart. We rejoice in Adonai, your righteous people. Or zaru ala tzadik, ule Yisrael lev simecha. Or zaru ala tzadik, ule Yisrael lev simecha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kodsho. On page 18, 3 lines from the top, such a pretty melody. It's to the word, sing to God, to the music of the lyre, as we make music together this Shabbat evening with horns and shofar cries, and we trumpet the presence of our sovereign Adonai. So 3 lines from the top, or if you look on the other side of the page at the red transliteration, it's the second line, Zamru l'Adonai bechinor. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor bekol zimra, bechatzotzrot, bekol shofar. Hariu livnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam umlo, Tevel veyoshveva, Neharot yimcha uchav yachad harim yeranenu. Livnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot Tevel B'nai Tzedek, v'amim b'mesharim. And on page 20 at the end of Psalm 99, Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodesho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodesho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Page 21, Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei lima, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, El hakavod hirim, Adonai hamayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shober alazim, Vaishaber Adonai et hazehavanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon veSirion kemo vein re'emim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel layalot, vayechesov ye'arot, uvehekalo kulo omer kavod, kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabu yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. We turn to page 23 as we welcome the Sabbath bride. Lechando di likvat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekavela. Lechando di likvat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likvat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekavela. Lechando di likvat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamayuchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, Leshemo tiferet velitila, Lecha dodi, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor ha-beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof matzeh v'machshavat kila, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, Mikdash melech melucha, kumitzi mitoch afecha, Rav lashem ve'emek havacha, vehu yachmol alaychem la, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, itna'ari me'afar kumi, livshi bigdei tifartechami, ayan ben ishai beit halachmi, kavael nafshi ge'ala, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi ori, uri, shir daberi kevod Adonai, alayik nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat abela, lo tevoshi, velo tikami, matish tochachi, o ma'atemi bach yekesu, ani ami v'niv neta, iratila lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, v'hayu limshisa, shosaik v'racha kul kol mevalaich, Yasis alaich Elochaich kimsos katan al kala lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, yamin usmol tiferot tziveit Adonai, ta'aritzi ayarish bein paretzi v'nis, Mecha v'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela, boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala gam v'simcha, o v'tzola tochem bunei am segula, boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. On page 27, the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodo la'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagir baboker chastecha, ve'emunatcha v'leilot, alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor, mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodo la'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. On page 28 at the red triangle, Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar Yifra, Ke'eres Bavano Nizke, Shetulim Behevet Adonai, Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yavrihu, Orin Nevun Beseva, Dishenim Rananim Yu, Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai, Turi Velo Avlatabo, Yalalai, 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 Yalalai. Psalm 93 on page 29. Adonai malachu lavesh, lavesh, Adonai hozitazar, avtikon teve balatimot. Mikol omayim rabim adirim mishpereyam, adir bamarom Adonai, erotecha nemnu meod, leveitcha navakodesh, Adonai leorech yamim. And we conclude our Kabbalat Shabbat service and continue with our evening service, our Maruv service on page 39. A, as we rise for the Baruchu, our call to worship. Please be seated. We'll continue together in the Hebrew, the bracha, after the Baruchu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvivunam meshane itim, umachalib et hasmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmoratehem barakir kirtzono, borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdir ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzivot shemo, Elcha v'kayam, Talmidim lo kaleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. We continue on page 40, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amchavta Torah umitzvot hukim umishpatim otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shokbeinu v'kumeinu Nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'verei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu u'vahem negeh yomam v'layla yomam v'layla V'vadecha d'simemenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Together, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta Beshivdecha beveitecha, uvlechtecha baderek, uvishokbecha uvekumecha, ukshartam leod ayadecha, והיו לתותבות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We'll continue praying silently, 42. והיה אנוכי מצווך היום השמיים הנפשיים אתה מזוכיך ישריך למענהם אשר עונה לבתיכם לקמי השמיים על הארץ והיו אליהם משום מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אלוהים Adonai Elohechem Emet. On to the top of page 44. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe uMiriam ubnei Yisrael lechanu shira v'simcha raba v'amru chulam mi kambocha Ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh norati lot osef ele malchutecha ra'u vanecha bogeyam livnei Moshe zeili anu ve'ameru Adonai imlo leolam va'ed v'nemar כי ודע אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מחזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גיא ישראל. Page 45. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידין מכים לחיים ופרוסנו סוכת שלום לך. ושמור צאתנו, ובואנו לחיים שלום יצא ויד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו וכל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים. We rise, page 46. ושמרו בני ישראל, השבת הוא לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל השבת הוא לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם שמרו בני ישראל השבת הוא לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Chetzi Kaddish on page 46. I want you to do it. Because I want you to do it. I know it wasn't planned. Right here. You got it. Which page is the translation? Okay, go for it.
Ikadol v'ikadosh me'raba.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrachirute, ve'alich malchute, ve'chayehon, v'yomehon, u'hayedecho be'Yisrael. Ba'agala, u'vizman kariv, v'meru, amen. Yehesh me'raba mevorach, ve'alma me'amaya, Yibarach, Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yiraman v'yitnaseh v'yihadar v'yihale v'yihalal shemei kudisha brehu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbecharta v'ne'emarta damin rambe'ama v'yimeru amen.
We continue with the silent Amidah, which begins on page 47. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Page 53. Vayehulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi v'lachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto kivo shava mikol melachto kivo shava mikol melachto asher bara Elohim asher bara Elohim la'asod Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu Elei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Ha'el hagadol hagibor v'hanora Elyon konei shamayim v'aretz Magen Avot bidvaro Mechaye metim b'mamaro Ha'el hagadosh she'en kamohu Hameniach le'amo V'yom Shabbat kodesho Hivam ratza lehaniach lahem Hivam ratza lehaniach lahem Lefanav navod be'yirav b'fachad V'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid Me'ein habrachot El ha'odaot Adon Hashalom Megadesh Shabbat Vorek Shivi Umeniach Bikdusha Le'amek Dushnei Oneg Zecher Lemase Voreshit 54. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu etzevnu chatenu kadeshenu v'mitzvotecha v'tenachenu b'toratecha sabeinu b'tuvecha v'samechenu b'shvatecha v'adinu v'met Adonai Ratzon Shabbat Kodesh Ve'yanuchu Va'yisrael Mekadoshei Shemecha Baruch Atah Adonai Bekadesh HaShabbat Yikra V'Kadashem Be'Rabah Ve'amadi V'Raknute Ve'amdim Malkute B'Chai Chol Ve'Machon V'Chai L'Chol Beit Yisrael B'Garav Zman Kari Ve'Meru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevora Le'alam Olam Ve'amaya Yitparak Yishtabak Vibar Vitroma Vienase Vidavida Levitala Shemeri Kurisha Leila Min Kobirkata Vishirata Trisbekata Vendekavata Damiram Yama Vimeru Amen Tigabasa the Konto Vada Konto Israel Kadama Voni Vishmaya Vimeru Amen Yehishel Amaraba Min Shmaya V'chaim aleinu v'yalko Yisrael v'meru. Amen. Osei shalom v'imrom bav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yalko Yisrael v'meru. Amen.
We'll need the wine. I'd like to publicly thank the cantor for moving the microphone so I don't have to do it, because he's much better at it than I am, and he's almost got it right. So, okay, Purim's over. It's time for Passover. Yeah, it is. Did it occur to you that one of the best arguments for latkes being more important than hamantashen is that you can have latkes on Passover, but you can't have hamantashen? That is why we have issues. That's right. That is correct.
He left out, he didn't give you that tidbit, right?
Right. Well, I got paid a lot more by hamantashen. I just did. Wait until tomorrow. Right. So, no. Everything's about me. No. Tomorrow's about you. And me. What show is that from? What show is that from? But mainly me. But mostly me. Yeah, but you don't know the show, do you?
I do know the show.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
The book of
Yes, you do. He did. Okay. All right. So much for that.
Okay.
So my pet peeve, I have pet peeves on Passover, which I've developed over many, many years. And one of my greatest pet peeves is that I don't like certain people at the Seder. It's so interesting because sociologically, we know from studies that if any Jew is going to be home for a holiday, and I'm not referring to the movie, if any Jew is going to be home for the holiday, it's going to be Passover. That is the most celebrated holiday in the Jewish year. Much more so than, by the way, than Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And if you think about it, anecdotally, I think you'll find it's right, because there are people who come to our Seders who did not necessarily come to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, or who said they came to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and didn't necessarily. But my pet peeve is that they come to the Seder. Because what is the first real question of the Seder? When do we eat? Every Seder has the one person who says, when do we eat? And I have come to establish certain rules in our family, which I can do because not only am I the Moreh D'Atra and rabbi, I'm also the father. And certain of the rules, there are a couple of rules are, if you don't want to be there, you don't have to be there. And if we don't want you there, you're not coming. We usually give a person 2 or 3 years, but then after that, they just don't come. They don't get invited. And we also have a custom, a very strong custom, that if you have people around the Seder table, and it comes to the point, especially after the meal, where there is a whole group of people who really don't want to do anything other than just have dessert and go watch TV or whatever, we let them. Because I can tell you, the Seder is a lot more fun without them afterwards. And we just condense. So sometimes at the Seder table, we have half the people who are supposed to be there around one table. That said, if you really don't want to be there and you want to subvert the Seder, there are ways to do it that are so easy and traditional that they really do create a tremendous amount of angst at the Seder table. And the irony of all of this is that most people think that when you sit down to the Seder, you have to do everything in the book or most of the things in the book. And so if they don't want to do everything in the book, they buy a book that doesn't have everything in it. One of the greatest blessings and curses of Passover was the establishment of the Maxwell House Haggadah. Because they're easy. You just pick them up and you've got them. But then there's always someone who says we have to do absolutely everything. Now, I'd be lying if I told you in our family we do absolutely everything, and we do a lot more than everything sometimes as well. But my contention is that any service, any ritual that requires you to drink 4 cups of wine is not meant to be serious by the end. And think about it, the first 2 cups of wine are done on an empty stomach. So you're supposed to enjoy it. But for instance, I'll give you an example because we're having Passover University on Sunday, and we're going to be teaching about Passover as we go forward towards Passover. What are the 4 questions? Manishtana. Well, actually, there's only one question, which is, why is this night different from all other nights? Everything else is a subset of that question. But given that there are 4 questions, what are they? Manishtana is actually not one of them. You're going to go through the whole thing? Sure. Shebechol halelot anu ochlim lat guz v'lo homentash. Oh no, that's a different one. Chametzu matzah. You eat. Okay, that's one. Are you a coat? You eat other vegetables tonight. It's only maror. You eat reclining or sitting up, and now we only eat reclining. No, we did maror already. You dip twice as opposed to dipping only once. Okay, now, for 16 mitzvah points and a no expenses paid to Moses Lake, Idaho, which question is not original to the 4 questions? Because those are not the original 4 questions. Yeah, that's true, actually. But is it worth it? I'll tell you. The question of on all other nights we eat sitting up or reclining is not original. The original question in the Mishnah, which was codified in 200 after the Common Era, is on all other nights we eat all manner of cooked meat, boiled, braised, and others. On tonight we only eat roasted meat. Okay? So,
Did you used to get
oh yeah,
roast the lamb?
oh yeah.
Slice the lamb?
My answer to them was, are you Sfard? Because if you're Sfard, you eat roast. Right. If you're not Sfard, you're not supposed to, on pain of thumbs. The reason that it was taken out, which you may not know, is that before the destruction of the Second Temple, you had to eat the Passover sacrifice, and it was roasted. So therefore, one of the questions on that day was, why are we only eating roasted meat this day? Once the temple was destroyed, and there could be no other meat, there was no other way of, you couldn't prepare the meat as a sacrifice, then you had to eat it in other ways, because you weren't allowed to eat roasted meat, because someone might think that you were eating the Passover sacrifice, and that would have been anathema if you're Ashkenazic. If you're Sephardic, it's a whole different thing. Now, What's interesting about, if I haven't lost you yet, what's interesting about the sitting up and reclining is that there's no answer in the Haggadah. So it would be your right, after about 20 minutes, to stand up and start screaming, "What's the answer?" And think of what that would do to the people at the Seder table. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they would do. They would drink. At its heart, they would. Well, at its heart, the Seder is meant to create questions, not to answer them. And if you look the way the Seder was patterned, it was patterned in such a way to make statements that, if taken in context or out of context, make no sense whatsoever. And you have to discuss what the answers are. So if you just go through the Seder and by rote, and you go line by line by line, you're missing out on what the intent of the Seder was. It would be better to cut out half the Seder and discuss the other half and how and what exactly it means to us. And one last thing before we start. Yeah, we're starting the service. Everything else was just right, preliminary. Historically, the Seder is a document which really does deal with a tremendous amount of history of our people between the time of the turn of the millennium and about 300 after the Common Era. It is a historical document, and one of the things that we learn is that if you take out the word Egypt and you substitute the word Rome every time Egypt is said, that's really what the Seder is talking about persecution by the Romans of the Jews, and what are we going to do about it? What we're going to do about it right now is Kiddush on page 55.
We invite Rachel Melnick to introduce our Kiddush and as well as our Bat Mitzvah.
We recite the Kiddush on Friday night and Saturday morning at home in the synagogue because it expresses the holiness of Shabbat, a day of rest and liberation. Chanting the Kiddush links us to our ancestors, brings blessings into our lives and homes, and gratitude to God. We now invite Liza Cutler, who will become a Bat Mitzvah tomorrow, to chant the Kiddush.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratavanu v'shabbat kodesh v'ahava uvraton hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zecher Letziyat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Remain standing for the Elenu on page 56.
Elenu leshabeach ladon hakol v'atei keduah le'aser reshit shelo asanu b'goyei haratzon velo samanu k'mishpechot hadama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'dor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishachachim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu she'unot hashamayim ve'yoseh haaretz
karov bashamayim mima'al. Ushkinatu zo, ushkinatu zo, vegohe meromim. Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efezulato, kakatu v'torato, v'yatatayo, v'hashevota elevavecha. Ki Adonai hu Elohim, bashamayim ima'al, ve'al ha'aretz mitachat einod. Aken lekavalecha Adonai Elohim miromehu.
Kakatu v'toratecha, Adonai imlech le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, v'melech kol haaretz. V'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad.
This week, we remember the Yortzites of Mordechai Barna, Howard Beater, Dolores K. Berman, Shirley Daneman Salem, Abraham Friedman, Ella Gaspar, Barry Goodman, Anita Herman, Dale Holtzman Marks, Joel Milner, Zachary A. Miles, Arnold Plant, Bernice Rabopsky, Adolph Schick, Beatrice Shapiro, Judith Sheehan, Susan Short, Bruce Smith, Shirley Zelda Stroller, Jacob Joseph Toplinsky, Toby Weinblatt. We mourn with the family of the recently departed Marcia Epner, and we remember at this day, on this weekend, Jack Lahav and Haley Cutler. Will all those who wish please recite Mourner's Kaddish with me on page 58. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemer rabba, b'yoma divrach yirutei, b'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala uv'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarach le'olam lomei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yomah v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Registration is now open for the CBT Golf Tournament. We hope to see everyone on Monday, May 12th, at the Lakewood Country Club for an unforgettable day of fun and connection. That was pretty low. Use the QR code in the e-garret or service booklet to register and sign up for sponsorship. Got it? Me, but there will be no Jewish theology and philosophy study on Sunday, March 16th. Rabbi Bayer and Cantor Capel will be holding Passover University that day, and you are welcome to attend. Come and learn the musical liturgy of Passover and the historical and theological foundations of the Seder. To music. Join CBT for a delightful evening of Israeli wine tasting with local expert and friend of CBT, Steve Kerbel, on Sunday, March 23rd at 4 p.m. Enjoy delicious pours, perfect pairings, and great company. Scan the QR code or use the link in the e-garret to register And now we call the cantor to put me out of my misery. Yeah. The interim rabbi.
Beautiful. I know you guys who don't come Friday night, so Rabbi always does a Broadway melody and tries to stump me on the. It was easy. Yeah, we were true, but I'll take it as a win. Oh, that was from Wicked, the Sentimental Man, and the first one was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right? Okay, somewhere. What's that? I know, it's not like I know, but it was Rabbi's song in the Purim spiel. So, and if you didn't come last night, it was a good show last night, yeah. Layla was there, right? Yeah, you remember the Rabbi solo? You don't? You don't remember the Rabbi solo? Wait, she was there. Oh, you weren't there to see your sisters? Oh, okay, all right, okay. All right. We're on page 62. We will conclude with Yigdal and then Hamotzi and the Green Lobby. Yigdal Elokim Kai Ve'yishtabach Nimsa Ve'enei Tel Metziuto Echad Ve'en Yachid Kekikudo Le'lam Ve'gam Eitzov Le'aktuto Hey Lo Damutago Ve'eno Guf Lo Na'adok Elav Kedushato Kamo Lecho Davar Asher Nivra Rishon Ve'en Veshit Le'reishito Hino Adon Olam Ve'chol Notzar Yoreh Gedulato Malchuto Shefan Nevuato Nitano El Anshe Segulato V'tifarto Lo Kam Yisrael Kemo Sheod Naviu Mavit Et Emunato Torat Menatan Le'amoel Ayad Nevio Neiman Beito Lo Yachal Lifael Velo Yamir Dato Leolamim Lezulato Sofeve Odea Sitarenu Mabit Lesov Davar Bekad Mato Komelish Kesed Kemifalo Lo Ten Lerashara Kerishato Ishlak Leke Jamin Meshikenu Livdom Mekakeke Chishuato Metim Yechayel Berov Hasto Baruch Adeyat Shem Dilato Meitim Yechayel Berov Hasto Baruch Adeyat Shem Dilato. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us in the lobby, and then tomorrow for our service.